In today's lesson, we're going to have a look at some harder fraction, decimal and percentage conversions. Last lesson, we said to convert from a fraction to a percentage, you find an equivalent fraction out of 100 and then take the numerator. We also said to convert from a fraction to a decimal, you do the same thing and then divide your percentage answer by 100. Sometimes, however, it's difficult to write the fraction given out of 100, so we need an alternative method for these instances. So, if a fraction cannot be written out of 100, we can use a bus stop division to convert it to a decimal. From here, we can easily convert this decimal into a percentage by multiplying by 100. So, in our example, we're asked to write 3/8 as a decimal and a percentage. I'm going to start off by drawing out my bus stop method. That would look something like this. It's important to recognise that 3/8 is the same as saying 3 divided by 8, and therefore the divisor 8 goes on the outside and we put 3 on the inside. Because we know we're going to end up with a decimal answer, I've put a point with lots of zeros at the end that we can carry our remainders onto. So I can start off by saying that 3 divided by 8 would be 0, remainder 3. 30 divided by 8 would be 3, remainder 6. 60 divided by 8 would be 7, remainder 4. And lastly, 40 divided by 8 would be 5. So therefore my answer as a decimal would be 0.375, and that's because we need to keep our decimal point in line in our bus stop. To convert this to a percentage, I need to take that answer and times it by 100, and that would give me an answer of 37.5%. Sometimes when you do this, the answer in the bus stop may not terminate or come to an end. Instead, the value might repeat over and over and over again. When it does this, it's called a recurring decimal. Recurring decimals have a special notation, and we're going to have a look at what this is now. It is really important that you can both recognise and write values using this notation, as it will be used in exams. Some more advanced scientific calculators also have the capability of displaying answers using this notation. Here are 6 examples of recurring decimals, and I'm going to show you how we can write each of them using our simplified notation. I'll then give you another 6 for you to have a go at yourselves. In my first example, I have 0.7 recurring. As it's only the 7 that's recurring, I can write this as 0.7 with a dot above the 7, which indicates that that is the recurring part. In my second example, I have 0.381 recurring. This time it's the 3, 8 and 1 that repeats itself. So I'm going to write this as 0.381, but I'm going to put a dot above the 3 and a dot above the 1. That indicates the start and end of the recurring part of my decimal. In my third example, I have 1.04 recurring. In this example, it's the 0.4 that's the repeating part, so I can write this as 1.04 with a dot above the 0 and a dot above the 4. In my fourth example, I have 0.81 recurring. In this example, we have a fixed number 8 and then the 1 repeats itself. I can therefore write this as 0.81, but I'm only going to put the dot above the 1 because it's the 1 that's repeating and not the 8. In my fifth example, I have 2.9345 recurring. In this example, the 9 and 3 are fixed values, and then the 4 and 5 repeat after it. I can therefore write this as 2.9345, and I need to put a dot above the 4 and a dot above the 5 because that's the bit that's repeating. In my final example, I have 1.0615 recurring. Again, the number 0 is fixed and the 6, 1 and 5 repeats itself. I can therefore write this as 1.0615, and I need to put a dot above the 6 and a dot above the 5. This indicates that it's the 6, 1 and 5 that repeat itself. What I'd like you to do is pause the video and have a go at writing each of these recurring decimals using the simplified notation. When you're ready for the answers, simply unpause the video. Here are your answers. So what we can do now is have a look at a conversion where we end up with a recurring decimal and look at how we write this as both a decimal and percentage. We need to start off by writing out the grid for our bus stop. As before, I know that 5/6 is just another way of saying 5 divided by 6. Therefore the divisor 6 goes on the outside and I put 5 on the inside with lots of zeros after the decimal point. I know that 5 divided by 6 is 0 remainder 5. 50 divided by 6 is 8 remainder 2. 20 divided by 6 is 3 remainder 2. 20 divided by 6 again would be 3 remainder 2, and you can see how this part starts to repeat. So we get 3 remainder 2 again, and 20 divided by 6 would be 3 remainder 2 again, and so on. We need to make sure we put our decimal point in line, so my answer is 0.83 recurring. Using my notation, I know that I can write the decimal as 0.8, which is the fixed value, with a dot above the 3, which is the repeating part. To get this as a percentage, I need to multiply by 100, and that would give me 83.3 recurring. So I can write this as 83.3 with the dot above it, and obviously my percentage sign. So what I'd like you to do is to log into MyMaths and complete the task that's called Recurring Decimals 1. Remember that the first login is always the school login, and that's Uppingham and Acute. You then need to log into your portal, the details of which are attached to Show My Homework in the Resources to Help You section if you've forgotten them. You should aim to get at least 70% on this task to demonstrate that you've fully understood it. If you need to repeat the task, but it's disappeared from your homework list, you can find it again using the Results tab on the left side when you're logged into your portal. If you are struggling to complete some of the work from today's lesson, then please do not hesitate to get in touch via comment on Show My Homework. I'll try to make myself as available as possible and get a reply to you as quickly as I can. If the issue requires a little bit more input from myself, I might ask to arrange a time to meet on Teams where I can give you some personalised help with that specific problem.